This is exactly what you need if you're planning to buy a $2.5 million property. Hi guys, welcome back to Only with Ron. And do you remember this video that I put up regarding the 15 months without period and how that it is the last window for people who are currently living in a HDB and looking to upgrade to a private property? Well, today this video will be short and it will be packed with numbers. So let's go straight to the real numbers. If you are looking to buy a $2.5 million property, what exactly do you need to afford it? By the end of this video, you will know how much cash and CPF you will need upfront, how big a loan can you get, how much income you need to qualify, what is the monthly installment that will look like for you. And I also touch a little bit on what are the financial commitments between buying a $2.5 million new launch and a $2.5 million resale property. And this is fully updated for 2025. Let's dive in. So this is how today's video is going to be laid out. First, we'll go through the raw numbers, which will be the down payment, buyer stamp duty, loan eligibility, income requirement for that loan, actual monthly repayment that you will be looking at, and then I'll give you a summary on all these numbers. After that, we will look into some nitty-gritty details that are often overlooked when buying a property, especially when we are talking about the difference between a resale and a new launch property. Lastly, I will share a structure that you can use for yourself so that you don't miss any details when doing this planning. Without further ado, let's get into today's video. So when buying into the property, there are usually 4 key financial components that we want to look at. Number 1 would be the cash and CPF for down payment, and then we need to look at our loan eligibility, the buyer stamp duty, the monthly installment. So number 1, the down payment. So MAS regulates that you need to put in at least 25% of down payment, and out of that, 5% needs to be cash and 20% to be CPF. So for a $2.5 million property, you will expect the total down payment to be $635,000, of which $125,000 needs to be cash and $500,000 to be from your CPF. If you do not have the $500,000 in your CPF OA, then you will have to top it up with cash. Next will be the buyer stamp duty. Assuming you do not own any property, you will pay 0% of additional buyer stamp duty, and this is the chart of the different tiers in buyer stamp duty. For the next $180,000, you will pay 2%, and following that, the next $640,000, you'll pay 3%. For the first 3 tiers add up, it will be $1 million. So even for someone who is buying a HDB, you will easily exceed that 3%. And after that $1 million, the next $500,000 will be 4% on the $500,000, and to make up to the $2.5 million, the next $1 million will be 5%. Of course, the stamp duty goes all the way up to 6% as well if you are buying something even more expensive. For this example of $2.5 million property, you will be paying a grand total of $94,600 for the stamp duty, and that is assuming that you do not need to pay any additional buyer stamp duty. So where is this stamp duty payable? It is usually within 2 weeks after you exercise the option. And next is a loan eligibility. So for a down payment of 25%, you can take up to 75% of loan, and that will be $1.875 million. But of course, the qualification of this full 75% will be based on a framework called the TDSR framework, and that is where we look at your income requirement. For the current framework, you'll be stress tested at about 4%, and the max total debt servicing ratio will be 55% of your monthly income. Max loan tenure for private properties is 30 years. So for the stress test at 4% with all these components in, you need a household income of minimum $16,275 per month, excluding any other financial commitments that you may have. So of course, you will not be paying 4% interest rate at this moment. Current market will be hovering slightly above 2%. So let's take 2.5% as an average interest rate that you'll be servicing, and that will work out to a monthly installment of about $7,400. So these are all the numbers that I've just laid out. You can pause the video and have a look. And if you need help calculating your personal numbers, including your income, CPF, and the liabilities, and if you need help calculating the real numbers based on your personal scenarios like your cash, CPF, income, and your total liabilities, feel feel free to hit me up over here and I'll be happy to help you. Okay, so after talking about the financial commitments and the TDSR, of course, there will be differences between buying a resale property or a new launch property. So you need to take that into account when you are planning your finances. For example, for resale property, you will need to pay your buyer's stamp duty in cash upfront, and then upon completion of your transaction, then you can claim that amount back from CPF if you have enough funds to do so. And if you're buying a new launch property, interest rate will usually be higher compared to the completed properties. And that is basically because you are on a progressive payment schedule, which I will overlay over here to let you see what is the monthly installment that you will be looking at. So for purchasing a $2.5 million new launch, the booking fee upfront at the show flat, you will need to put down that 5% cash, which is $125,000. Next will be the completion, which you will need to pay another 15%, which is $375,000. That will make up 20% down payment. If you're buying a new launch that hasn't started the foundation works, you will not need to pay that 5% first to make up the 25% down payment. However, take note that if you are using any CPF funds, you will need to already have this 5% ready in your OA. And when that foundation is completed, the 5% from your OA account will be deducted, as well as another 5% will be dispersed from the loan that you took up. And progressively, the bank will disperse the funds as the building construction progress. So you can see here that the completion of the reinforced concrete, which is the concrete structure, they will disperse another 10%. The first installment that you will make would be about $573, followed by when the concrete structure is up, it will be $1,721. And then when the brick wall is up, you will pay $2,295, so on and so forth. So you can see that the installment will be a lot different compared to the $7,000 over dollars per month that you need to fork out right up front for the resale property. So for those people who don't need a place to stay right now and they want to start light in the beginning, meaning to say they do not want to overstretch their monthly commitment, they may opt for a new launch and gradually ramp up that installment for themselves. And like I said, for resale, the full loan kick in right at the beginning. So from the day you collected your keys, you'll be expected to pay that full installment every month. And that is the reason why usually for new launches, the interest rate will be slightly higher. But of course, that is not the only difference between new launch and resale. And definitely there are a lot more reasons why people go for resale or go for new launches. And if you want a video to detail every single factors that affect your decision, either new launch or resale, drop a comment below and I'll make a detailed comparison for these two 2025 version. So those are the details that you need to know if you are buying a property today. And the example we use is a $2.5 million property because this is basically the sweet spot that most people are comfortable with. And today, if you are a HDB upgrader, this is the timeline that you need to know. So on the screen, you are looking at a timeline that we use to illustrate the time taken for a sale of a HDB. And coupled with the type of property that you'll be purchasing, we will merge these two timelines together so that you will have a very clear picture of what to expect and when do you need the funds in. And of course, if you need help to plan your timeline, you can also drop me a message over here and I'll be glad to help you. But if you want to do it yourself, here I'm going to run through a framework for you so that you will not miss out any details when planning for your upgrading journey. So this is the model that I created for my clients to make sure that no details are missed out on and they can weigh their options and navigate the timeline effectively, as well as how they actually choose the right property for themselves in their specific and unique situations. So first, we'll run through the own method. This is a 4 steps method, which first you optimize your finances. Next, we weigh all the options, including the different locations, the different age of properties, including new launches, and how to navigate all the exit points. And does that property have those exit points that matches to your life stages? And once we are clear with those 3, we took the 4th step, which is to implement it. And how do we do that? Is by using our asset framework, which most of you are already familiar with. So just for those who are new here, asset framework is also a framework that we created to guide our clients on how to select the right properties. And that includes the affordability, because you cannot pick the right property if the affordability scoring is low. And next, we'll look at the safe entry, which is also the price that you are entering. Is there enough buffer for you? So these 2 components will actually take the bulk of the weightage. And next will be the supply and demand and the estate appeal. Lastly, it will be the transformation, whether there is enough exit points for you and that matches to your life stages where you are ready to exit. And this will ensure that you're not only buying something that you can afford, but what truly fits your family and your long-term goals. And of course, if you still need help running these 2 models, models, feel free to reach out to me. You know the drill. My number is right up here, and I'll be happy to help you to plan out all the timelines with our illustrations and these models so that you don't miss any single details. So lastly, I will close with this, which is my honest opinion. Buying a $2.5 million property or even a $3 million property is never just about whether you qualify today, but rather are you positioned safely for the next 5, 10 to 15 years. So my advice to everyone who may have the desire to upgrade your properties, plan early, plan right. You'll have a lot more options later. And let me say this one last time, if you need help with your numbers or running the two models that we created, or you need the timeline illustration, feel free to reach out to me over here and I'll be happy to help you with it. So like, share, and subscribe to my channel, and remember to hit that notification bell button so that my videos will reach you in a timely manner. This is Ron, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!